You know that feeling when you're trying to explain to someone why saving money matters and they hit you with, what's the point? Even if I save $100 a month, I'll never be rich anyway. Like they've already done the math in their head and decided that small amounts don't matter, that building wealth is something other people do. People who make six figures or inherited money or got lucky with crypto. And honestly, I get it. When you're starting from zero, the finish line feels impossibly far away. But here's what nobody tells you, and this might be the most important thing you learn about money this year. There's a specific number that acts like a gateway between two completely different financial realities. It's not $1 million. It's not even six figures. The number is $10,000, and once you cross it, you're playing an entirely different game. My name is Drew, and I've spent years studying wealth psychology, interviewing people who've built fortunes from nothing, and trying to understand why some people seem to effortlessly move up financially, while others stay stuck in the same place for decades. If you want to understand the real mechanics of wealth building, instead of just surface-level advice, hit that subscribe button, and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up showing you something you've never thought about before. Now, before we dive into why $10,000 is the magic threshold, let me ask you something. When you think about getting ahead financially, what comes to mind? Maybe you picture winning the lottery, or getting some massive promotion, or stumbling into the next big investment opportunity. The truth is, wealth building doesn't happen through these big dramatic moments. It happens when you cross invisible thresholds that fundamentally change the rules of the game you're playing. $10,000 is the first major threshold that separates people who will eventually become wealthy from people who will spend their entire lives financially stressed. And the crazy part? Most people have no idea this line even exists. They're working toward random goals, hoping things will magically get better, without understanding that there are specific milestones that change everything. Think about it this way. If you've ever played a video game with levels, you know that early levels feel impossible. You're weak, you have terrible equipment, every enemy is a serious threat. But then you level up enough times, and suddenly you're powerful. The same enemies that used to kill you are now trivial. You're not playing a different game, but the experience is completely transformed. $10,000 is that level-up moment for your finances. But here's where it gets really interesting. And this is something that will probably surprise you. The magic of $10,000 isn't actually about the money itself. It's about what happens inside your brain when you reach it. When you don't have savings, your brain operates in what neuroscientists call threat detection mode. Every financial decision triggers anxiety. You see your bank balance going down and your stress hormones spike. You think about the future, and your brain floods with cortisol because uncertainty feels dangerous. This isn't just uncomfortable, it's literally making you dumber. Research from Princeton shows that financial stress reduces cognitive capacity by about 13 IQ points. That's the same impact as losing a full night of sleep. When you're worried about money, your brain can't think clearly about anything else. It's like trying to solve complex math problems while someone's screaming in your ear. You might be technically capable, but your performance tanks because your mental resources are consumed by stress. But something remarkable happens when you hit $10,000 in savings. Suddenly, your brain has breathing room. That constant background anxiety starts fading. You're not in threat detection mode anymore. You're in opportunity mode. And this shift is worth way more than the actual $10,000 sitting in your account. Here's a study that will blow your mind. Researchers at the University of Wisconsin found that having $10,000 in liquid savings reduces financial anxiety by 67%. Not 10%, not 20%, 67%. Think about what that means for your daily life. You wake up without that knot in your stomach. You check your bank account without holding your breath. You make decisions based on what's best for your future instead of just surviving until next paycheck. But the psychological benefits are just the beginning. Let's talk about what happens mathematically once you cross $10,000, because this is where things get absolutely wild. When you're saving your first $1,000, progress feels painfully slow. You're scraping together $100 here, $50 there, watching your account creep up at a snail's pace. It takes discipline,
sacrifice, and honestly, a lot of faith that it's even worth it. But here's the part that makes compound interest so powerful. Let's say you're saving $500 a month and earning an 8% return on your investments. Getting to your first $10,000 takes about 18 months. That's a year and a half of consistent effort, saying no to things you want, staying disciplined when it's hard. Most people quit somewhere in this phase because the progress feels too slow. But your second $10,000? It only takes about 16 months. Same effort, same monthly contributions, same discipline. But you shaved 2 full months off the timeline. Why? Because now you've got that first $10,000 working alongside your contributions. It's earning money while you sleep. It's growing while you're at work. It's compounding every single day without you having to do anything. And this acceleration just keeps getting faster. Your third $10,000 takes about 14 months. Your fourth takes 12 months. By the time you're working on your 10th $10,000, you're adding $10,000 to your net worth in just 6 months with the same $500 monthly contribution you started with. The effort you're putting in hasn't changed at all, but the results are more than twice as fast. This is why that first $10,000 is so brutal. You're doing all the work with none of the momentum. But once you cross it, you're not just saving money anymore. Your money is starting to save itself. Now, you might be thinking that wealthy people must have access to better investment opportunities that make their money grow faster, like there's some secret world of high-return investments that regular people can't access. And while there is some truth to that at the ultra-high end, it's not what's driving this $10,000 phenomenon. The real secret is much simpler. It's basic mathematics combined with time. When you invest $1,000 and it grows 10% in a year, you make $100. Take that exact same 10% growth rate and apply it to $10,000, and suddenly you're making $1,000. Same strategy, same risk, same time frame. The only difference is scale, and that scale transforms small percentage wins into actual meaningful money. But here's the part that most people completely miss, and it might be the most important insight in this entire video. When you save $10,000, you've actually accomplished something far more valuable than just accumulating money. You've fundamentally proven something to yourself. You've demonstrated that you can control your money instead of letting it control you. Think about what it actually takes to save $10,000 from zero. Unless you're making ridiculous money, this requires serious discipline over an extended period. You had to consistently spend less than you earned, month after month after month. You had to resist temptations. You had to make trade-offs. You had to prioritize your future over your present desires, dozens, maybe hundreds of times. And you did it. This identity shift is enormous because it affects every financial decision going forward. You're not someone who's trying to save money anymore. You're someone who has saved money. That might sound like a subtle distinction, but psychologically, it's massive. It changes how you see yourself and how you make choices. Here's something else that happens around the $10,000 mark that nobody talks about. You start seeing money as a tool instead of just a resource. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, money is this thing that flows in and immediately flows out. You earn it, you spend it, it's gone. There's no accumulation, no strategy, no leverage. It's just survival. But when you have $10,000 saved, money becomes something different. It becomes potential. It becomes options. It becomes power. Your car breaks down? Annoying, but not a crisis. You lose your job? Scary, but you've got a few months to figure it out. A great opportunity comes up? You can actually consider it instead of automatically saying no because you're broke. This shift from scarcity to abundance mindset is worth more than the $10,000 itself. Because once you start thinking abundantly, you make different decisions. You invest in yourself. You take calculated risks. You say no to things that don't serve your goals. You become strategic instead of just reactive. And here's what's really crazy. The discipline required to save your first $10,000 is actually harder than the discipline required to save your first $100,000. I know that sounds backwards, but think about it. When you're going from $0 to $10,000, you have no momentum, no proof it works, no evidence that you're capable. You're operating purely on faith and willpower. But once you've done it once, you know you can do it. You've built the habits, you've developed the systems, you've proven to yourself that you're the type of person who saves money. Going from $10,000 to $100,000 is mostly just doing the same thing you already proved you can do, except now compound interest is working heavily in your favor. Look, I'm not going to tell you that saving $10,000 is easy. It's not. For most people, it's one of the hardest financial goals they'll ever achieve. But it's also the most important, because it's the threshold that separates two completely different financial realities. On one side of $10,000, you're stressed, reactive, trapped by your circumstances, and watching opportunities pass you by. On the other side, you're calm, strategic, empowered, and actively building toward the future you want. So here's what I want you to do. Stop thinking about saving money as this vague goal for someday. Make $10,000 your specific target. Calculate how long it will take you at your current savings rate. Then figure out how to shorten that timeline. Can you save an extra $50 per month? Can you pick up a side gig for 6 months? Can you cut one major expense that doesn't actually make you happy? Because every month you shave off that timeline is a month sooner you cross into a completely different financial reality. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today. Don't let them down.